Okay, I'm doing number 4 from yesterday. So if you were having trouble with it, that's understandable because unlike the previous questions, this question is not a series at all. It looks kind of like a series that you've got an indeterminate number of terms, but there's no, I mean, what's a series? A series is the sum of a whole bunch of terms, right? There are no sums here, right? This is actually, there's multiplication. This is a product, not a series, okay? So that might mean it looks a little different, but actually, if you follow this through and have some faith in the principle, it actually comes out not too badly, okay? So let's have a go. Firstly, I'm going to test it out. And the first legitimate value is just 1, okay? So how far am I going to get on this series if I just put 1 in? Well, my first term will be 2, right? Well, sorry, left-hand side is equal to 1 plus 1. Now, as I keep on building this series, how far am I supposed to go? Right? Well, for instance, if n was, say, 10, okay? N was 10. My first value would be 11, and my last value would be 20, right? If n was 100, my first value would be 101, and my last value would be 200, right? So you have an idea of how far you're going to go. Now, if my first term is 2, well, my n is 1, what will the last term be? It will be 2 times 1, which is 2, right? So in fact, I've already got to my last term. That's it. That's the whole left-hand side. 2, okay? So even though I said before, this first step is meant to be trivial, right? Sometimes it can still be tricky because you're like, oh, what does it actually look like? And you've got to get it right, okay? So now my right-hand side, it's equal to 2 to the power of n, so there's 2 to the 1. Now, how many terms am I going to have here? What are these numbers? It's not a sequence or a series, but what pattern does this progression follow? They're the odd numbers, right? 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, and so on and so on, okay? So what's the first number I'm going to have? It'll be 1. How far do I go? Well, I want to get up to 2n minus 1. When n's equal to 1, 2n minus 1 will be 2 minus 1. It'll be 1. So I'm already there. I'm at my last term, okay? So I'm finished, okay? So that's 2 by 1, which is 2. Hooray! I was able to prove the first step, okay? So it's true for n equals 1, okay? Let's make the assumption step. So assume true. That's an E. For n equals k. So what does it look like? This part's not too hard. I'm just straight substitution, right? Okay. Now I'm hoping people got to this point without too much drama, okay? Because it's very mechanical. Honestly, it's a bit boring. But boring can mean, straightforward, so that's good too, right? Now what do I do to prove the next part, right? Prove true for n equals k plus 1. Okay? And we've said before many times that all the work is in this step, right? But it's not just in actually doing the algebra to make it look correct, but it's also in building this thing correctly for k plus 1. There are lots of little traps you can fall into, right? So for instance, where am I going to start? I'm not going to start at k plus 1. Usually it's like k plus 1, k plus 2. I'm actually going to start at k plus 1, right? Which is k plus 2. Okay? Shall I finish? Yeah, we'll try to finish, okay. K plus 2, k plus 3. This is going to keep going and multiplying by, what's here? 2 times, if I substitute it in, I'll get 2 times k plus 1, 2k plus 2 minus 1. 2k plus 2 minus 1. That's that. Is that okay? That's my second last term. My last term is next. Okay? What's that equal to? Be careful here, particularly with this next part. All my odd numbers, right? 1 by 3 by 5 by, and so on. Okay? What are my terms over here going to be? Well, these are odd numbers. So my one before this at the end should be 2k plus 1, right? 2k plus 1. What is the odd number before 2k plus 1? 2k minus 1, right? Be super careful. It's really easy to put something like, say, 2k or 2k minus 2 or something else, something even, right? Which breaks out. It won't work. Your algebra will not work, okay? So if you got that right, the rest of it should fall out, okay? And I'm making you late, so we'll finish this in this afternoon. Okay? Thanks, everyone. Is it last?